morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Here we are. We're going to be working with graph paper today. The main thing with graph paper is if you like to do any kind of like architectural type drawings and paintings, see, like cityscapes and street scenes and paintings with maybe like homes, cottages, shacks, architectural type features, graph paper is a great way to work out some ideas on paper before you go in and you do your drawings. And so that's what we're going to do here. So this could be a really nice streetscape, street scene here. I did this in Sharpie marker first. And then what I really basically did was I essentially just used my graph paper, the lines on my graph paper to keep all of my lines, true, level, plumb. So you can see that my drawing looks very real to life. It looks very realistic. So if you want that realistic look to your paintings, and once you start drawing with graph paper, you can also add a little bit of more flair to your drawings and kind of add a little more waviness to your lines. But the thing is, with graph paper, you can train yourself to sort of get a good solid feel for drawing in 2 dimensions. You can also draw in 3 dimensions, obviously, with graph paper, but it gives you a good feel for level and plumb. So basically, when you're drawing any type of subject matter before you paint in watercolor, it's really to your benefit to have a good solid drawing for your watercolor painting before you start. So, and not in all cases, but if you're kind of painting in this style, my style of painting, I like to get a good, solid, realistic drawing first before I go in and paint. So this is going to help you if you want to practice up on your drawing skills. Graph paper is a fun way to just doodle around, have some fun, do some sketches here and there. This would really work great if you're working outdoors in plein air and you're maybe doing some street scenes and so forth. It'll give you that structure that you need underneath as you start to draw and work out your sketches and drawings. So let's do this. This is just a real simple, like this is basically like storefronts here. So this could be like some commercial buildings in the local area, storefronts. And we're going to show how using graph paper you can really get a great rendering of this just by working with it. So we're going to get a fresh piece of graph paper, and what I'll do is I'll set this across from me. So I'll set this up. I'll lift up my tape. I hope this really helps everybody, and I also like to remind everybody, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. You hit that subscribe button below, and this way you'll be alerted to when our new videos come out, and you can check out everything here on YouTube. And we're all about learning all the fundamental skills of drawing in watercolors and the wet media. We do all types of watercolor. We do also ink drawings with watercolor. So we do everything that has to do with watercolor. It's right here on this channel. So please subscribe. Don't miss out. If you hit the notification bell, which is right next to the subscribe button, then you'll be notified too, so you'll know when our new videos come out. Okay, so let's get started here. I'm just going to use my drawing that we just showed a few seconds ago. We're going to use that same drawing, and we'll just I'll describe how I do things here on this sketch. So here, if I'm pretending I'm looking at a scene, could be a photograph. I could be sitting in plein air in my car looking at a scene, or in a lawn chair with my sketch pad or some watercolor paper, and I'm doing a outdoor plein air painting. I'm just looking across from me and I'm saying, okay, that's an interesting looking building. Let's see, it looks pretty much like, 3 sections. One section's taller than the other, and the ground is pretty level. So let's get the ground here and say, all right, the ground is level. So we'll just use our graph paper to trace that level line all the way across. And then we're going to say the largest section, we'll start with that, of the building is over here on the right. So we're going to go up and We're going to make that the first part of the building. Then we notice that there's another section to the building. It's a little bit lower. It's about halfway down. And then we use our other level line with our graph paper here. And then we use our other line here to get the end of the building on the left side here. And now you can already see that we've got a really nice, realistic, solid drawing of the building that we were just looking at. Then we also noticed that the building was divided in half here. So there's a section here. And this is perfect. So this is a two-dimensional. So this is a two-dimensional drawing. That might have two M's, I'm not sure. Those of you, you can let me know if I misspelled this or not. And so we're here. We have our building, the main structure of our building. Let's do a little roof up here, and we just follow that same. Once you get that line across here, that level line, you can just add a rectangle, a large rectangle on top. Same here, we could add a little rectangle here, so we take our time. I just slide, I have my hand resting on the paper, and I just slide my marker across carefully, maintaining that little bit of distance between the two lines. And there we have a little bit of trim on the top of the building. That looks good. Then we're going to work over here on the right. We're going to do the windows on the top of the building. And it looks to be about there. And it looks to be about one square high in height. And then we have okay, and then we can add some shadowing to the windows. And I'm just using like 45-degree angle sketch marks like that. Then I'm looking at the doors on the front of this portion of the building, and I notice it's about like something like that. And there's a top. And then some more shading. So I'll do that 45-degree angle shading. And these are windows up here on top, and then windows. These are the doors. I just blocked in some darks on the doors. And then let's go across here, and we're going to find that we have a door here. So that's going to be a single door there, maybe a single door over here. And then we have some more windows. And they're the same level as the door. And you can use the lines on the graph paper. I'm drifted off the lines a little bit, but you can use it's better to use the lines when you're first starting out. You can utilizing those lines of the graph paper really give you a great advantage to getting everything looking realistic and pleasing in our drawings. Okay, and then we had some signage. Maybe there's a and then maybe there's a sign over here, rectangle like that, and then we have some, I'm just making some fun, sketchy looking things here, nothing fancy. And then over here maybe there's another bit of signage on this over the doorway here. And then maybe this one is a restaurant, so it has a little more fancier lights. And what do we have left? We have some, let's block in some trees. So we're just going to put some trees over here. Just some. Like so. Block those in. Maybe in the background there's some more here. And over here we have some trees. Just make some tree shapes, block it in. Over here like that. Like that. And a couple of trees in the backs of the buildings, so we have a little bit of feeling of three-dimensional look, even though it's two-dimensional drawing. So we're just doing 2 dimensions in this drawing, height and width. We're not doing any dimensional angles or anything. And this is all we need. We have everything looking good. We have and we have some smaller, maybe some couple of trees over here. Maybe there's one tree over here, smaller. So you can sketch in some tree shapes here and there. These can be at the sidewalk. Maybe there's another one here. Now maybe we can do another line across here for the sidewalk. And you can add a little bit of sidewalk there just for, if you wanted to make it a little bit dimension, to have that little bit of a three-dimensional feel. But if you stick with that 2 dimensions, the height of the structure and the width of the structure, and you have some we do some ornamentation. I would think this is sort of like ornamentation, the trees and the foliage around this. And that looks really good. So you have an excellent feel for getting some architecture using your sketch paper with the grid on it, the graph paper. So I encourage everybody, hey, if you haven't purchased any graph paper, you can get graph paper out there. It's easy to get online or in the stores. It's in all the stores, that would carry any kind of office supplies like paper and envelopes and things like that. And you'll also find that you can also get graph paper in different styles. So there's smaller and larger graph paper as far as the squares go. These are, I would say, average graph paper. This is like an average graph paper where the grid is actually, good for sketching. So you'd want to have something like this. This might be like a 1/4 of an inch by 1/4 of an inch grid, which gives you, plenty of lines, but it's not too fine. But you can also get some really fine graph paper out there where the grids are very, very tiny. So it's all up to you, but I would say go and experiment with as much graph paper as you can. Try a whole bunch, try different kinds. Start off with maybe just 1 or 2 styles of graph paper. They come in binders too, so you can get them in like sketchbook form with bound. So you can use it that way and start yourself a graph paper sketchbook where you're doing mostly architecture and things like that, like buildings, houses. And then you'll have a really fun time capturing some really good renderings of your favorite subject matter when it comes to doing street scenes and any kind of structures, architecture, things of that nature. So I hope you had fun. I hope we did some good coverage here of using graph paper, how it can benefit you to draw, get some really great renderings down on paper, and then you can even set this across from you. So when you sit down and do your watercolor drawing and painting, you'll have this as a reference, and you can actually sit down, sketch this onto your paper with a pencil and watercolor paint it, and you've already got the basic layout and feel of what you're looking to capture if you're working from a photograph or even if you're out in plein air. So I hope this was fun. I hope you'll try this out. Please try it. Graph paper is a great way, again, to get yourself really strong with your drawing skills, with your scale, working with dimensions and scale of what you're drawing so that you can kind of get a good solid comfortability with drawing structures, again, like buildings and houses and architecture. All right, everybody, thanks so much. We'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.